Greetings world! We are Anonymous. Welcome to another edition of the Anonymous Top 10 Countdown. For centuries humans have studied the world around them, and with each piece of the puzzle found, we create our own interpretation of the truth. However, the truth is we are a newly advanced species that has forgotten its past. Every so often, archaeologists make humbling discoveries that defy logic, and cause us to question all we think we know of our history, and ourselves. Here is our top 10 list of amazing discoveries that may change your view of mankind. Number 10, the Voynich Manuscript. Carbon dated to the early 15th century, the Voynich Manuscript is an illustrated codex written in an unknown language. The pages of the codex are vellum, which is a thin parchment made of calf skin, and it includes illustrations of various medicinal herbs, zodiac symbols, and even nude women. Earliest reports of the manuscript date back to 1639 when a Prague citizen by the name of Georgius Bartsch reported to the Jesuit Athanasius Kircher in Rome that he possessed a mysterious book written in an unknown script with numerous illustrations. Bartsch had hoped at the time that Kircher would be able to translate the text for him, however to date, the codex is still a mystery. It was next discovered in 1912 by an antique book dealer by the name of Wilfrid Voynich, which is where the codex gets its current title. No one, including American and British code breakers, have been able to decipher the text, however many have claimed to come close. One such example is Stephen Bax, a professor of applied linguistics at the University of Bedfordshire in England, who claims to have translated some of the words in the text, including coriander, hellebore, and juniper, all of which are written next to their illustrations. The word Taurus was deciphered as well, and was also written next to an illustration of the Pleiades star cluster located in the constellation Taurus. While some have dismissed the manuscript as a Renaissance-era hoax which is unlikely due to the time, effort, and cost of creating it, others claim that the pattern of the letters and words suggest it is, in fact, the last surviving documentation of a language lost.
My name is Stephen Bax and I'm going to talk to you today about the Voynich manuscript, which is a fascinating 15th century manuscript. You can see some pictures of it here on the screen. On the left hand side some interesting ladies bathing in a strange green liquid, and you'll see the script of the manuscript as well. On the right hand side the picture of a plant, and again the fascinating script, not a single letter of which we understand, not a single word of it we can interpret as yet. You can see more information about me on the website at the bottom of your screen, and particularly if you want to read in detail what I'm going to talk about, then there's a full academic article there, 50 pages long, if you want to explore it in a bit more depth.
Number 9, the Antikythera mechanism. Often referred to as the oldest computer in the world, the Antikythera mechanism was a device meant to serve as an astrological calendar, though its full functions remain unknown. Reports suggest it was also used to predict astronomical positions, as well as monitoring the cycles of the ancient Olympic Games. The device was recovered from the 2,000-year-old Antikythera shipwreck off the coast of Greece between 1900 and 1901. It is currently housed at the Greek National Archaeological Museum of Athens. The inner workings of the device are extremely elaborate. While its remains were found in 82 separate pieces, X-rays show that there are at least 80 gears of various sizes within the instrument. Beautiful recreations have been made, but since the original artifact was incomplete, much of the recreation process involves guesswork, and we are still left with many unanswered questions. The Antikythera mechanism is, however, a testament of the ingenuity of our ancient ancestors, whom we've often underestimated.
If it hadn't been discovered when it was in 1901, no one would possibly believe that it could exist because it's so sophisticated.
This mechanism would be remarkable even if it was a less clever thing than it is.
This is the story of one of the most extraordinary finds in history. This corroded bronze object is a machine that can look into the future. It was built 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece.
Number 8, the Piri Reis map. Compiled by the Turkish admiral of the Ottoman Empire and cartographer, Piri Reis, the Piri Reis map is the oldest known surviving map to show the Americas. It bears the date of 919 in the Muslim calendar, which corresponds with the year 1513. After being lost for a long period of time, it was rediscovered in the 20th century, and is currently located at the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul. Only one-third of this incredible map has survived the ages, however it appears to show some details no European could have known in the 1500s. All indications suggest that if the map were whole, it would encompass the entire globe. Included on the available piece of the map are the coasts of Europe and North Africa, as well as the coast of Brazil, which has been drawn with fair accuracy. Various islands in the Atlantic Ocean were also detailed on the map with reasonable precision, such as the Azores, Canary Islands, and Cape Verde. Aside from its historical interest, it is claimed that one of the sources used in the map's creation was Columbus's maps, which have been lost. There are many who also claim the map indicates a pre-modern exploration of the Antarctic coast.
In 1929, rolled up on a dusty shelf in a library in Constantinople in Turkey, a map was found. This map had been drawn in 1513 by a Turkish admiral, Admiral Piri Reis. The strange thing about this map is it shows features of the Earth that nobody in 1513 should have been able to know.
Number 7, the Fuente Magna Bowl. Found in 1958 near Lake Titicaca, Indiana, South America by a worker from the Chua Hacienda, the Fuente Magna is a beautifully engraved, earthen brown ceramic bowl bearing zoological motifs and anthropomorphic characters. Controversy arose after its discovery, however, due to the cuneiform script that is engraved on the artifact. Translated by Dr. Alberto Marini, he identified one of the languages on the bowl as Sumerian, which is a form of writing used in 3000 to 2000 BCE by the ancient Sumer civilization located in southern Mesopotamia, or modern-day Iraq. The other language appears to be ancient Pukara, the forerunner of the Tiahuanaco civilization. An additional examination of the linear script later took place by Dr. Clyde A. Winters, who determined the writing was most likely Proto-Sumerian. An identical script was also used by the pre-Iranian civilization, the Elamites. How is it that these civilizations located in vastly different regions of the world came into contact with one another? Archaeologists are still searching for answers. Number 6, the South African Spheres. Near the village of Ottosdal in South Africa, miners have been uncovering hundreds of small, metallic spheres, many of which have grooves around their equator. The spheres are fascinating to many researchers as they are made of a material that is as hard as steel, yet they are found in soft limestone deposits that date back to 300 billion years. Some of the orbs appear to be solid, while others are hollow and contain a white, spongy substance that turns to dust upon contact with air. Now retired Professor Andries Bischoff, of the University of Potchefstroom, claims the spherical objects are limonite concretions, and this general theory has stuck in the mainstream science community. There are, in fact, other examples in nature of concretions that can take unique forms. However, due to the man-made appearance of South African spheres, the controversy continues. Some of these spheres can be seen at the museum at Klerksdorp in South Africa, however, due to the scarcity of the orbs, and the impossibility for outsiders to obtain samples from the mine itself, Professor Bischoff's conclusions have not been verified by other scientists. Number 5, the Baghdad Battery. Found during the 1936 excavations of the 2,000-year-old village Kujut, the Baghdad Battery refers to a series of clay pots that were found at the site, and are currently located at the Baghdad Museum in Iraq. The ongoing interpretation of the pot's purpose is as a storage vessel for sacred scrolls, like those from the nearby Seleucia. However, unlike the Baghdad Battery, the Seleucia vessels do not have the outermost clay jar. The most extraordinary aspect of these archaeological finds are the jar's construction. The clay pots themselves measure at around 6 inches tall, and contain a cylinder of sheet copper. The edge of the copper cylinders were sealed with a copper disc, and soldered in place with a 60 to 40 lead tin alloy, much like solder today. The bottoms of the cylinders were then sealed with a form of asphalt. Within the copper cylinder, an iron rod was also held in place with asphalt in the top seal. The rods themselves show evidence of having been corroded with an acidic agent, all of which indicates these items were batteries. Those within the mainstream science community refuse to accept that these mechanisms were once used as batteries. However, recreations have proven that when filled with an acidic agent, such as vinegar, the jars do in fact create 1 to 2 volts of power, enough to possibly electroplate gold onto silver objects with enough jars, or numb the painful effects of gout.
When we think of electricity, most of us recall back to a time in school where we learned about Benjamin Franklin, a metal key, and a kite. That year was 1752, but the existence of the Baghdad battery suggests the possibility of far more shocking scientific advances in the field, a mind-blowing 2,000 years earlier. Discovered in 1936 and thought to have been created in the Mesopotamian region, these clay pots contained galvanized iron nails wrapped with copper sheeting, and some archaeologists theorize that an acidic liquid was used to generate an electric current inside the jar. If correct, these artifacts would predate the currently accepted timeline for the invention of the electrochemical cell, attributed to Alessandro Volta, by more than 2 millennia. Whether or not the artifacts were in fact used as batteries is highly contested by archaeologists.
Number 4. The Begong Pipes. Found at Mount Begong near the city of Dillinghua, the Begong Pipes are a series of hollow, 150,000-year-old metal pipes, some of which have been found to connect 3 caves in the region to a nearby lake. The cave entrances are located on the front face of the mountain, and though 2 of them have now collapsed, the largest one is still accessible. The shape of the mountain itself has become a focus for many as it vaguely resembles a pyramid. While some reports claim the pipes were found by an unidentified and anonymous group of American scientists, others claim they were first discovered in 1996 by a man named Bai Yu, an author who was traveling in the area. Bai Yu apparently found the cave interesting as it seemed man-made, and upon further investigation he discovered the pipes within, which he described as manufactured. Regardless of who discovered the pipes, they are in fact real. The controversy is whether or not they are man-made. Like the South African spheres, there are many who believe the pipes are a naturally formed concretion as there are other, somewhat similar occurrences elsewhere. However, as of yet these pipes seem to be the only ones of their specific kind as many appear to be uniform in size, and purposefully placed.
Baigong Pipes. The series of pipes were found in 3 caves on Mount Baigong in China. The pipes were found by a group of scientists who were seeking dinosaur fossils at the time. The pipes vary in size and people believe they were used as a plumbing system in ancient China. Some scientists believe the pipes are fossilized trees or tree roots, however this theory is unsupported by any scientific publication or reliable source. In 2007, the Chinese Earthquake Administration reported that they had found some of the pipes to be highly radioactive.
Number 3. The Ancient Flying Machines. Numerous small golden trinkets that appear to depict airplanes have been found in Central America, and in some coastal areas of South America. While it is impossible to accurately date items that are made of gold, it is estimated that the figures are from 500 to 800 BCE. At the very least, archaeologists are confident that they are more than 1,000 years old. The trinkets have been labeled as zoomorphic, or animal-shaped, and indeed, many of them have animalistic features. However, upon first glance, they have a strikingly similar appearance to a modern airplane complete with rudders, stabilizers, and in some cases, a cockpit and landing gear. The fact is, there is no possible way the mainstream science community will accept that these small trinkets are anything more than artistically carved interpretations of animals, since the theory that they are flying machines doesn't fit the current belief system. In this way, science limits itself to a restricted list of possibilities based on our currently meager pool of knowledge.
In 1997, German aviation experts including Algund Einbohm and Peter Belting set out to prove the speculation by building a scale model replica of the Gold Flyer, fully equipped with landing gear and a working engine.
It was rather simple because we don't need to put much parts to this shape because this shape is perfect. Everything was already done by the native people 2,000 years ago.
Number 2. The Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. In 1940, employees of the United Fruit Company in the southern portion of Costa Rica discovered numerous monolithic stone spheres partly buried in the forest floor. Today, more than 300 in total have been uncovered, most of which now adorn the yards of government buildings, and the homes and gardens of the rich and powerful. The spheres range dramatically in size, from just a few centimeters in diameter, to over 6.5 feet, the largest of which is said to weigh a staggering 16 tons. Those orbs that have withstood the ages are incredibly smooth, and nearly perfect in shape. The general theory is that the spheres were sculpted by the extinct Dyquis culture which inhabited the area from 700 AD to 1530 AD, however this theory has often been challenged due to the sphere's near-perfect construction, and the fact it appears the stone used in the sphere's creation came from a quarry more than 50 miles away. The purpose of the spheres are unknown, though theories abound. Some believe they were used as navigational aids, while others believe they may be relics related to Stonehenge. Like most of the items on our top 10 list, there is even a theory they were created by extraterrestrials.
Behind me is definitely one of the largest stone spheres we have here in Costa Rica. We're in the Museo Nacional in San Jose. They have several spheres here. I think this is probably the largest one they have. It's about 5.5 feet tall, 5.5 feet round. It's not perfect though. I've looked around it and you can see discrepancies in the spherical shape. However, just to create such things, and so many of them, all around the whole southwest coast of Costa Rica, was quite a remarkable feat, and we have to question why on earth did they do it?
Number 1. Ancient megaliths. The word megalithic means large stone, and it's most often used to describe large, human-built structures or arrangements. They are scattered across the globe in various locations, and these massive stone structures often defy everything we know, or thought we knew, about our ancient ancestors. From the pyramids of Egypt to Stonehenge, archaeologists have been trying to uncover the secrets behind these structures for years, and in most cases we are left with more questions than answers. While there are many noteworthy megaliths worth mentioning, we have narrowed our focus to one of the most perplexing monuments found so far, the ruins of Pumapunku, which are estimated to have been constructed around 500 to 600 AD. Located at the Tiwanaku site near Tiwanaku, Bolivia, Pumapunku is part of an elaborate temple complex consisting of interlocking blocks, many of which average 100 to 150 tons. While official sources claim the blocks are made of sandstone, other reliable sources, including archaeologists who have visited the site, claim they are made from diorite, a stone that is as hard as granite. It would appear the site was at one point a wharf, as one of the largest blocks at the scene, estimated to weigh around 440 tons, had been fashioned into a pier. There is no known technology that existed during this time capable of transporting and maneuvering these massive stones, especially by the Andean people of 500 AD who traveled in simple reed boats. Even in the 21st century, with our current technology, we could not fashion such a structure, and yet another perplexing feature of the Pumapunku ruins are the elaborate details, which consist of intricate cuts, and perfect angles. So perfect, in fact, the structure appears at first glance to be modern. Many argue that this could only have been accomplished with power tools, since this is the only way we would be able to realistically accomplish such a feat today. One more interesting detail of this site is the structure's condition. It doesn't appear that Pumapunku was simply abandoned and left to the elements. On the contrary, it would appear the building had been blown to bits. Pieces of broken and crumbled stone are strewn around the site in what appears, even to the untrained eye, to be the remnants of a violent explosion.
One of the most amazing things about the Pumapunku site is the fact that the fine stonework done out of diorite, the super hard stone, you can find samples of it anywhere you look throughout the entire perimeter. And even here, as we walk along, you'll see the fine glint of almost diamond-like quality of stone. And that is diorite. It's literally as if the site exploded.
This concludes our countdown of the top 10 amazing discoveries that make us question our history. Join us again next week for another countdown. We are anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.